Can you think of an example where you wrote yourself into a corner and then how you wrote yourself out?
Yeah, pretty easy. Tamra was a movie I wrote myself into a corner because it was, you know, like that's a tough thing in horror films is you create your villain and you make them really strong, and it's like you have to come up with a way to stop them, and you don't want to do something super generic. But you know, Tamra was kind of my homage to Carrie, about a girl who's picked on and bullied, and these kids pull a prank on her and they accidentally kill her, and she's, you know, in the script she's supposed to be like really frumpy and unattractive, and then they bury her in the woods, and the next Monday she comes into school and she's really smoking hot, and she knows all their secrets and their sins, and she uses that to turn against them. But I made her, you know, she was really powerful, and so I'm like, you know, if I stop her, it's either they're gonna have to find a spell, since she's using the witchcraft, they're gonna have to find a spell to stop her, which is kind of, you know, it's just, we've seen that 100 times, like how am I gonna, and I made her so strong that you can't kill her because she came back from the dead, so what, you know, what do I do? And so I had to, if you haven't seen Tamra, spoiler, but so I basically had to, you know, I tied her fate to the teacher that she was in love with, so he ended up sacrificing, you know, doing the heroic sacrifice, and like, you know, grabs Tamra and jumps off a building with her, and, you know, sacrifices himself to stop her. So, you know, heroic sacrifice is always a good way in a horror film to get yourself out of a corner, because that's the thing when you create a monster, is you have to figure out a way to kill it, and then it's like you don't want it to be something overly complicated, but you don't want it to be something as simple as the spell will just kill her. So yeah, that I definitely wrote myself into a corner with that movie, and I was like, well, I'll just, yeah, I'll have the teacher, you know, sacrifice his life to stop her.
And then when you got notes, let's say the first few times around showing them, what were the notes? What were the feedback about Tamra? Like, was she too much this, not enough this?
Tamra was probably the easiest. That was probably the easiest project to, as far as, you know, we found a studio that wanted to do it and they did it. Like it was pretty easy sell, because I wrote that one because I wanted to have fun with the movie, because everybody had been like, bring us something like Final Destination, bring us something, and that, you know, that's, yeah, and then you bring us something, oh, that's too much like Final Destination, and it's like, stop. So finally I just wanted to write something fun, and like in my head, and you know, it was just like I wanted to write like a fun, like quotable, like campy, sexy, you know, horror movie. I mean, it turned out really well. I did joke because of the budget, you know, we had a certain budget, and then magically half that budget like disappeared before, when we started shooting. So the movie turned out, not, you know, we didn't have the money that we went in the movie having. So I always kind of joke it's kind of like the PG-13, you know, ABC Family version of an R-rated horror film that I wrote. So when you watch it, you can definitely see like a lot of places where it's like the story got kind of chopped out a little bit, and then stuff didn't go, like, wow, they could have really pushed the envelope here, and they played it really safe, and that was all because of, like, you know, budget stuff or things like that. So that was another one where, like, I actually wrote a book with a friend of mine, J.D. Matthews, and we put it out just based on the screenplay so that people could see like what the original story was like, because the only thing we had to change on that, because there was some pretty intense stuff in there, but nobody ever said take it out. And that's what's always funny, because a lot of times it's the studio that wants you to take out stuff and play it safe. And the couple of movies where that's happened to me, it hasn't been the studio that's done it. It's been like either a producer like kind of running off with some money, or somebody on the movie set like, oh no, let's tone this down, or let's do this. So I've had the opposite of what a lot of people have, where it's like the studio wants to play it safe. Like I had a couple movies where I'm like, I can't believe they're letting me get away with this. And then you get on set, and then one of the actors is like, oh, I don't want to do this. And then they're like, okay. And I'm like, damn it. It's like, usually the studio stops me, not an actor. So it's a very interesting business that we're in.
So having Final Destination and the various ones that you were a part of under your belt, do you think that sometimes it's difficult because they pigeonhole you as that, and you want to do something in a little bit of a different realm? Or is it nice because you're known for that, so then they have confidence? I
mean, for me, it's nice. I mean, just because I'm a horror fan, and I'll probably, you know, I have a science fiction kind of horror overtones to it, but a big science fiction project right now we're doing. But, I might branch out a little bit, but I'm very happy writing horror. So I love the genre. So, and I used to, in part of it's like also from just growing up, you would read in Fangoria magazine, which is like the Bible for horror people. But you'd read directors, they would do a horror film. They're like, well, it's not really a horror film. It's more of a supernatural thriller. And they would try to say everything but say it's a horror film. And then they would do a horror film because they know they're going to probably make a profit. And then they would quit making horror and go off and do other stuff. So even directors would be like, well, this is really a stepping stone to do what I want to do. And so growing up, you get really like, screw you. This is a great genre. So, and it is. And so, yeah, this is something I am very, embrace wholly. I love going to horror conventions and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a great fan base. And, a lot of the people that I work with now that are my peers were all horror fans like me. We grew up loving the same stuff and watching the same stuff. So, it's just a really fun community to be a part of.